Hey, that means it's live when there's a red thing up there, right? Hey, everybody. How are you? So we're live. Everybody, welcome to the Hangout. We're going to be talking about being legit today. Quick introduction. I have the lovely Jillian with me today, who will be answering questions for everybody. Do you want to say anything interesting about yourself?
Nope, we can find out more later.
So we're going to find out more later from Jillian. But today we're going to be talking about being legit. Couple of technical things to go over because we're really excited as we get better at this. So there are links on the side of the presentation if you're watching this in the Google Hangout. So if you're watching it on YouTube, you won't see those. But if you're in the Google Hangout, you will see them. In many cases, we will talk about links to other places. So not too crazy to worry about if you aren't in the Google Hangout as we go. And then also, we're going to be answering questions as we go along. So Jillian will interrupt me if we see some trends or some things coming up. We won't be getting too technical today, and a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about is conceptual. We're going to be talking about messaging, talking about storytelling, talking about social media. It's going to be a lot of fun. So aside from that, we also have Colby, who's our technical guy, taking care of everything on the back end. Thank you very much, Colby. Very, very excited. And if I happen to screw anything up doing that, he will run with it. So let's get things rolling. So today we're going to be talking about on being legit, building with a strong online presence. One of the things that to mention with that, or to mention with the word and what it means, it's not necessarily being polished, right? That could also mean just being authentic. So quick introduction, a little bit more about myself. My name is Sean. I work at GoDaddy. Is the screen share stuff working, Colby?
Yeah,
back and forth.
Share anytime.
Oh, we are. Oh, yeah. Shoot, go for it. Yeah, the perfect. Hello, everybody. Why didn't I pick only when my picture shows up to screen share? Like I'm like, hey, look at me. I'm a great father. So everybody, I'm Sean. I work at GoDaddy. I am a small business superfan. Why we do these presentations and these hangouts really is because we're interested in seeing small businesses, freelancers, moonlighters. We're interested in seeing nonprofits. We're interested in seeing people be successful with dreams and ideas that they have. And we're all super fans with that. It could be food trucks to freelancers to web designers to filmmakers. Like anybody that's got that sort of underdog passion and is out there to change the world, we're definitely behind them. So the big message that I want to get across today as we talk through what can seem like really difficult material is that you can totally accomplish this. And when we meet with small business owners and we're able to do it more in person, it's a really great opportunity to remind them that creating a message or getting online, getting a website up and running can seem like it's crazy, that it's rocket science, it's open heart surgery, but you can absolutely do it. And I want you to do it with just small pieces at a time. Before we get too much further, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. Now, I did not ask to use this picture from Mr. Noah. This is Noah. He's my best friend in all the world. This guy is really fantastic, and I've learned so much about social media. I've learned so much about small business, and really, I've just learned a ton about being authentic and honest, and where that gets you when it comes to running a small business and launching your ideas and just working at GoDaddy. And Noah, early on in our friendship, he used this phrase a lot, and everybody knows that Noah uses this phrase all the time. It's totally amazing, and it's a compliment. It absolutely is a compliment, and it is the word legit. So Noah will basically say, "Oh, dude, she's legit," or "He's legit," or "That's legit," right? And I get that other people do this. It's like we're watching old surfers or something talk about something being rad. But for Noah truly believes that when he says this, and I caught on to this really early on, that when Noah says that something's legit, like I said at the beginning, it doesn't mean that it's polished, and it doesn't mean that it's perfect, and it doesn't mean that it's the best thing in the whole world that's out there. What it means is that it's authentic and it's real, and that when you talk to somebody and you work with somebody, you realize really quickly that what you see is what you get, and that it's really amazing material. And so legit doesn't have to mean polished. It doesn't have to mean these other things. It really means that you have a unique voice. So I talk about this a lot when we work on an online magazine together here at GoDaddy, a blog. It's garage.godaddy.com, and we work with a lot of different writers, and a lot of different people want to contribute to the blog. And the one thing that I say to writers when they're contributing or when they want to write in is that if I can't hear your voice in the posts that you send us, I'm not really that interested in it. I'm not interested in the stereo instructions or the rote material and everything that comes through. And I believe I even did that with you, Jillian. Yeah. Like early on when she first started GoDaddy, we asked for a post. I think it was about a rapper. I think
it was about Demi Lovato.
It was about Demi Lovato, who I know nothing about. So it was perfect that I signed you to do it. But same thing. So we get the post from Jillian, and it definitely had your voice in it. But when that voice came through, that authenticity, that is legit, and that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about today. So another example. Let me talk a little bit about my son. My like many of you, little brothers and sisters, kids. Well, some of you, adults as well. There's a very popular game online right now. I guess it's online and offline and everything else. And it's called Minecraft. And years ago, I guess 2 years ago, when Minecraft first started, my son came home from school and told me, "Hey, Dad, I want to play this game. It's kind of like Legos, except I run from zombies and there are pigs, and I can kill the pigs, and I can eat bacon, and I can make and everything else." And I thought he was crazy, and then I hooked him up with a Minecraft account. Now, what my son does is he plays Minecraft then, and after he starts playing Minecraft and he learns all this really cool stuff, and there's mods and tricks and all these different things that go with it. Once he learns how to play that, what does he do after that, right? My son goes back to school. The next day he goes back to school, and he tells all of his friends about it. He tells everybody how cool Minecraft is. Right, so that's the way that this message and building these authentic relationships really works. Right, you need to connect with people. You need to find something that's really great and then share it with them. Let me give you another example. When it comes to your homepage on the internet, so when you build your first website and you're really excited and you're really freaked out, and let's say you get that. We talked last time about just getting the one page live, just getting the one page up and running. When you build that first web page, you want to be able to put something in there that is share worthy. You want to put something in there where somebody will see that, and you've connected to them in such a way, so you connected to your audience, to your customer, you've resonated with them either emotionally or with humor or something else, that they then take that, like Minecraft, and they say, "Oh, dude, you gotta check this out." Or in Noah's case, Noah would say, "Oh, dude, you gotta check this out. It's legit. You need to take a look at this." So an example here, right? Like one of the businesses I've always wanted to start with my buddy Isaac has been a sci-fi coffee shop where we're really convinced that we could get like a Princess Leia barista behind the counter, which would be rad.
That would be legit.
That would be legit, right? Lots of people would talk about that. Star Wars might get mad at us, or I guess that's Disney now, might get mad at us, but it would be legit. So what you do is you create something and then share that with everybody so that they can share that with other people. The other area on your website where that's really powerful, and many websites have that, is the About Us page. And this is the opportunity for you to tell your story and make it again shareable to the world. We were just talking to another employee right before we got started. He asked us, he goes, "Hey, what are you guys going to talk about today?" And we said, "Oh, we're going to talk about being legit." And he's like, "That's really confusing. What does that mean?" And the way that we explained it really quickly to him was exactly this about us, or the story. Because when there's a large corporation, like somebody really huge, right, that's kind of all over the place, and then they say, "We'd like to tell you our personal story." You're kind of like,
Don't believe it.
Yeah, that's great. I think you read somewhere in a business book that you should have a personal story, right?
But nice try.
But nice try. So that's where I think you have the opportunity, small business owners, people that are just getting started have the opportunity to tell their story, and that's when it resonates with us. I met a guy yesterday who's he's making electric bikes, and he's so excited and so passionate about the electric bikes. He's telling everybody in this room, we're all a bunch of like networking nerds and web developers and everything else. He's crazy excited about these electric bikes that he's got, and he pulls out, instead of business cards, he had printed out his information on little slips of paper and folded them in half. And even though that wasn't polished, even though that wasn't like the cleanest way to do things, he told us his story. He shared that information with us, and that resonated with us, right? We got really, really excited for him, and then got really, really excited to find out more about these electric bikes. If it had been somebody else there that didn't have that story, didn't have that intimacy, it wouldn't have resonated with us. So this is where you have this opportunity to tell that story. So what is the story that you're going to tell? One other example of this, and I love this example. This story also involves Noah, my good friend. We were both in Iowa. It was very, very cold in Iowa. It was, I think it was November. We were in Cedar Rapids. Now, if you haven't been to Cedar Rapids, Jillian made a stinky face when I said Cedar Rapids. Have you been to Cedar Rapids?
No, but I just thinking November, cold.
You just think cold and do stinky face.
I'm just not happy.
So in Cedar Rapids, well, I was curious because Cedar Rapids is known for being the town of 5 smells, and so like on Tuesdays or Thursday or somebody from Cedar Rapids is going to correct me on this, I'm sure. But on like Tuesdays or Thursdays or something like that.
No correction yet.
No correction. It smells like crunch berries. Like I kid you not. Like Captain Crunch cereal, crunch berries as you drive through town. Totally amazing. So maybe it was the day that smelled like crunch berries, and Noah and I both went to this bakery in Cedar Rapids. And while we were there, we walk in. It's really cool. It's an old place. There's an old oven on the wall. Totally legit. And it's a Czech bakery, so I think I got something with poppy seeds, probably something with a lot of poppy seeds, which is really, really great. And we got in there, we sat down, and we sat down to eat. And the guy that's behind the counter, it was like old school. He's wearing like the white apron wrapped around, and there's a woman in the corner like dancing and singing while she makes things and everything. He comes around from the counter, and he sits down with us. And we actually signed our names that we came and visited the bakery and did all these things.
Oh, that's so cool.
And the guy, as he sat down, he began to tell us his story. And this is where this is really, really powerful, because he could do the same on his website. And as he told us his story, we learned about his son, we learned about his family, and he told us that he had been in California for a number of years, right? So in California, he took his son out there to become an actor. Like that's nutty in itself. Like kids, if you're watching, I'm not going to take you to California to become actors or actresses, but this father loved his son enough. He took him out west to become an actor, and had just recently moved back. And Noah and I totally curious because we're like, hey, has he been in anything, right? And like, did your son get a job? He's like, oh yeah, he's been in a couple of movies. Have you guys ever seen Lord of the Rings? That's what he says to us. And like we work at GoDaddy, so we're like, yeah. Unfortunately, we've probably seen it more times than we should have. And we thought for sure at that point that he was going to say his son was an orc or a troll or maybe an elf, right? Hung out with Aerosmith's daughter. But no, he said, Frodo. Frodo's my son. Right? We both look at him and we go, you're Elijah Wood's father? He's like, yeah. And then instantly we're like, oh, you're famous, right? We got to take our picture with you, hang out with them. Like, it was so great. And it was so interesting how unassuming he was and how good he was at telling his story about how he's now working in a bakery and supporting this Czech bakery. I think the last thing he said to us when we left was, the next time you're in Cedar Rapids, give me a call. I'll take you fishing. Really, really wonderful,
That's awesome.
And a really, really great story. And that's why these resonate with us. And then again, right, that bakery, that place, I think it's been through ups and downs and all sorts of things, but still for us, continually legit, like very, very legit. Now I don't want to make it sound like you have to have celebrity like tie-in, celebrity kids in order to be legit. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. And one of the most important things to remember is that it needs to be honest, which also means that it's not going to be perfect. So one of the things that I've been really fascinated with, and it's not because I'm trying to like up my hipster credibility or anything like that, but I grew up with records. I grew up with albums, and the way that an album, like when you play it, even when it's brand new, when you play it, you hear like those cracks and those pops. Like when you listen really really closely, you can hear almost what's happening in the studio on an album. And those are, for all intents and purposes, they're mistakes. They're things that weren't supposed to get picked up. They're not things that you should be listening to. One of my favorite albums when I was growing up was "Automatic for the People" by REM. Now, Jillian and I are different ages, and sometimes I mention
2 years.
I'm by 2 years, and sometimes I mention bands, and she goes, "Ah, wow, who's that?" And then it makes me feel bad.
I know who REM is.
That's perfect. Okay, so REM, "Automatic for the People," and there's a song on there called "Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight" on that album, and during the song, Michael Stipe starts laughing. It's right after he says the line "Dr. Seuss," right? He says something about Dr. Seuss, and then you hear him laugh as he finishes the song. And it's my favorite song for that reason, right? Because there's this imperfection that they kept that comes all the way through. So we want to be able to hear that snap, crackle, pop. We want to be able to hear your voice in the stories that you tell. Now, one of the big reasons why I also bring this up is I think a lot of us, myself included, can overthink the material that we're going to share online, or even like, let's say the stuff that we're talking about now is all online. It's in the cloud. It'll be social media. We'll go over some of those tips and tricks in just a second. Sometimes we overthink it. These things, these social things, these tech things, they happen in the real world. Like if you go to a networking event, or you go hang out like at a co-working place, these things are fantastic. I was downtown Phoenix yesterday at Cahoots, but where you go and there's tons of different people, and that's your opportunity to talk about yourself. That's your opportunity to talk about what you're interested in, and that's your opportunity to find out more about other people. Sometimes we show up to those types of events, or we're staring at the screen and Twitter is before us, and we freeze. Like we're nervous about it. We want it to be perfect. We want it to be exactly the right thing. We think that there's some magic bullet in order to make these things really, really great. Listen, spelling mistakes, yeah, they're horrible. I hate it. I've tweeted plenty of times and thrown a typo in there. But it doesn't mean that it's destroyed my brand or who I am, right? At least I know that I'm not getting it from a robot when it comes through. So, I mean, edit yourself, proof that type of stuff, but don't overthink it too much when you have those conversations and when you show up to those types of events. Be real. Right? Be normal. Be you. But we talked about that right before we started today, because Jillian's like, "Oh no, what are you gonna make me say?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like,
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out as we go. So, be genuine, be real, and remember that if you're really freaked out, right? If you're really really nervous, put it onto somebody else. So this is a good point, especially when it comes to social media and when it comes to networking events and things like that, is you want to connect and you want to listen and you want to understand what other people are doing, especially when it comes to your customers. Here's somebody that did this really, really well. You guys have probably seen campaigns from Nike in the past, and I'm a huge fan of their brand and what they've done, or even the actual Nike slogan, the motto, that "Just Do It," right? And so when Nike says "Just Do It," they don't mean Nike just do it, right? They mean me, right? They want me to take the leap. It's like carpe diem, seize the day, like just do it. You've got it in you. Same thing with the ad campaign they did, which is find your greatness. The reason I bring up Nike in this particular situation is in those situations where you need to tell your story, or you want to tell your story, or you want to connect with other people, sometimes it's easier, like Nike's done with their ad campaigns and with their branding, to focus on other people than it is to focus on yourself. And that opportunity will come up so that you can then express who you are and what you do. And this is a lead into some stuff that we're going to talk about social media, right? This is how we're going to make you happy in 140 characters or less. Now, before we do the actual social media tips all the way through, be cautious that you don't become then the legitimate jerk. The risk with this is the person that's criticizing everything as well. I've got a good example. Now, this guy right here, this is not This is not a legitimate jerk. I have an uncle named Chad. Now, Chad, if you see this, I know this isn't you, but I think it's a lot like you. So my uncle Chad, I went to family reunions when I was young, and I didn't know anybody there. And my uncle Chad was the one that showed the most interest in me out of everybody that was there. And he would find out as much as he could about me. And then years later, it could be 4 or 5 years later, he would bring up things that we talked about during that conversation. So what he would do basically is share some information with me about himself, and then he would listen intently to who I was and what was important to me. And then he would share more information with me again. Because he would then understand who I am and what's important to me. And this is the basis of building that credibility and becoming legitimate online. It's really, really simple. It's this three-step: share, listen, and then share again. Now, listen, you could make that 4 steps if you wanted, and it could be listen, share, if you're totally freaked out and you don't want to share what you ate today in social media or with friends that you meet, right? But that's the easiest flow for it, and that's going to be the basis of everything that we talk about moving forward with social media. So it's an improvised type of culture. It's a yes and type of culture that you're going out with, not a let me criticize everything that I see. Build everybody else up. Listen really closely to who they are and what is important to them, and then share on top of that. So in short, like, we want you to be like Chad. Come on, that's cool, right? To be like Chad.
Be Chad.
Be Chad. Be Chad.
Yeah, just be Chad.
Be dangling Chad.
Be Chad.
Yeah, be Chad. All right. So in social media, what I recommend that you start with is start small, get good, and then go bigger. These are the 4 platforms I recommend that you start playing around with, and this is where you're going to start to really find your voice and find how to be legitimate online. There is a 4th piece that I don't want to ignore, and the 4th piece, and I know for some people they're going to say, "Wow, this sounds an awful lot like a plug, GoDaddy," but I'm honest when I say this, is you don't want your brand and your business to be just in social media. You definitely want to have a homepage, however small that it is, and it could be WordPress, it could be website builder, it could be anything. Like, as long as it is a place that you own, and you own the look and feel, and you own the messaging, and you don't have to worry about where you're going to show up in a feed. I think that it's really, really important that you have a base camp, a place where your brand actually lives, and it's yours, and you control it. Because Facebook is awesome, Twitter is awesome, Pinterest is awesome, Google+, YouTube, all of the great platforms out there are very, very powerful for you and for your message, for your legitimate story that you're telling the world. But you definitely want to have that core place where you're pointing people back to, where people could come back and find out more information about you. That's where your information is, and something that you can update all the time. So when we talk social media strategy, or we talk about telling your story online, make sure that your homepage is a part of that. And then when you craft your messages, make sure that you're writing to somebody specific. Now, what I mean, and we talked about this, I think we talked about this actually two webinars ago, and it bears repeating, is that one of the easiest hacks for putting together material that you're going to publish, or for when you're going to tell your story, when you're going to talk about being legitimate, is don't picture like the entire planet when you go to write it. So when I write something, I try to picture one specific person in mind. Not long ago, actually, Jillian and I were working on it. Was it your bio that we were working on?
My LinkedIn summary bio.
Your LinkedIn summary bio.
It actually wasn't even for that. It was for, like, something.
For
something.
It was to impress people with. Yeah,
it was supposed to be, like, my personal brand. And then when we did it, I was like, this is so funny, and I love it. I was like, I'm just going to put it as my LinkedIn summary. I was like, I'm just going to do it.
Well, the good news was, like, when we first started doing it, I think that was my first question. I was like, okay, who's this for? Like, who's going to see this?
And I was like,
everybody. I think we decided. I think it was your boss. Like, we finally decided, like, okay, your boss is going to see it, and then I was
think
like,
it was supposed to be for, like, the senior leadership.
That's right. So then we knew, and then once we knew, we were able to say, okay, we can be playful, but we just can't get childish, right? So when we were playing with it and putting it together, because we had like a set core group of people that we were focused on. Now the good news is that once we had that and we were writing to that specific audience, you then took that and used it all over the place, right? You were more comfortable using that other places.
I just put it on my LinkedIn.
You just put it on your LinkedIn.
And I read it to my mom.
Not on, and you
She
read
loved
it
it.
over the phone. Listen to how I
I
sound
was like,
at
Mommy,
work.
look at me.
So you start, Mommy, look at me. So you start with somebody very specific when you put the material together, and it always helps. And then when you put that together, everybody knows about the 140 character limit. The reason I put this up here is because for everything that you publish, even if you're writing for the about us page. Now I'm not suggesting you make the about us page 140 characters long. However, the first sentence on your about us page, this is a great hack. Like this makes it a lot easier for you to put that down on paper, or to write up what your story is, or what's important to you, or what you're doing, or why you're different, or why you're special, or why you're unique. Put those guardrails on it, and that will make it a lot easier to get that first draft written.
We have a comment.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to read?
You can read it out loud if you want.
Okay, so this is from Christopher Carfee.
Okay.
Okay, and he says, cannot, all capital, overemphasize the have your own real estate point. Social is great, and it served him very well over the years, but platforms come and go. Referencing Friendster, MySpace, yeah. And so basically he says, have your own homepage, have your own site. It's not worth the risk to be a what does that say? Vessel on someone else's land.
Yes.
My glasses on. Dyslexia.
Yeah, so. I think Chris is breaking into like what's that, like that Thrones TV show? What is that called? Game of Thrones. Yeah, that. Vassal.
I don't watch that.
I don't watch it either. And it looks like Chris has his own brand because I think he's wearing a straw cowboy hat in his picture there. That's fantastic. He brings up a really, really good point, and I'm glad that he does. Chris, thank you. Really, really stressing that it's important to have your own homepage, like your own place online. Yeah, because the other ones will come and go.
And I think it's also good because not everyone uses social media.
Oh, that's totally true. And also being able to diversify, but always have that homepage come back to. Listen, every social media platform that I know always includes the, hey, where's your homepage, right? And you put the link to your homepage in there. So in the case of even a couple of years ago, if I was searching for, let's say, a sci-fi coffee shop here in a local Phoenix metropolitan area, I would pull out my phone, I would type in that search, it would pull up my results, and that was in Google a couple of years ago. By default, right, would be the one that pulls up, meaning then Google's platform for businesses, Google Places would be what would display, and then I would go there. But now it's Yelp, I think, by default with Apple Maps, unless I switch to something different. And so these come and go; they're all over the place, right? As people use them, and so as they come and go, you want to make sure that that one place stays the same. So, Chris, thank you, and thanks for interrupting me. That was good. All right, so now we're on to the 5 different ways to engage, and this is a little bit of a review. If some of you have seen other social media hangouts with us, or ones that I've done, and we'll be reviewing this again, but these are really, really great. And I took these from my buddy Noah, from Colby, from people I've worked with in social media over the years, and they're huge. They're very, very helpful. So the first way to engage with other people, and actually, okay, so side note, before we get all the way into all 5 of these, I know we're going to be using social media as an example and a back and forth on this stuff, but I want people to remember that everything that we're going to be putting on here is stuff that you can do face-to-face as well. So if you work out of a facility where there's lots of other companies, or you go to a networking event, or you go to a seminar, or you go someplace else where you just need to connect with other people, that is huge and will give you great business ideas, collaboration. This is why it works so well in social media, great marketing, everything else. As we go through the 5, remember that. So I won't keep talking about ways to do it in the real world, but everything that we're going to cover you can do in the real world as well. All right. Okay, back to it. Okay, so the first one then is to ask questions. You guys have seen this all the time, and it works crazy well. So in this particular instance, I got Sci-Fi Coffee, our beautiful coffee shop. Hey everyone, what's the best science fiction movie of all time and why? I have got Noah, Shannon, and Isaac all replying with what their favorite movies are. Mr. Smith Goes to Jupiter is the one that Isaac gave us. It's so underrated. Best robot fight scene ever. Listen, asking questions is the most popular way for me to engage with people on social media. If I go on later today and I ask a question on Facebook, just a general open-ended questions, especially about something that many people have opinions about, I'll get more activity on my Facebook feed than I've gotten in 3 or 4 weeks. Asking people questions, and asking people questions that are relevant to what you do is also really, really powerful. So so I just said I wasn't going to talk about this offline, and now I'm going to talk about it offline again. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm being legit.
And authentic.
Look, you're being an unreliable narrator. So yesterday I was sitting down with a group of people at Cahoots who are wonderful, and I asked the question of something I'm really interested in, and it's just storytelling. So what are the storytelling events, or what would you recommend for storytellers here in the Valley, here in the city? And every single person in there had an opinion and gave me great ideas and great resources. It took like 35 seconds, but it was something that was important to me and nonprofits that I want to be a part of and other solutions I want to be a part of. And even this, right, just helping small business owners, helping nonprofits launch and be successful. Really, really powerful way to get more information, to build those connections and become more legit. All right, the second one, join conversations. So many customers that we talk to are completely freaked out by Twitter and by Facebook and places like that. So you don't have to go on there and just ask a question, right? If you go on there and ask your first question, you might not get anybody to answer. The easiest thing to do is to go on and do what we call not trolling per se. I guess you're spying more than anything. So go on and find people that love things that you love, and they're interested in things that you're interested in. And Twitter makes this really easy with hashtags. Instagram now, if you go into the Explore feed on Instagram,
yeah,
it only shows stuff that's relevant to what's important to you now.
Yeah, things that you normally like, people you know, popular in your country.
Right. It totally makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, it also makes it confusing when somebody likes something of mine that's like 3 connections deep, and I was like, how in the world did they know I even existed?
Well, I was on an Explore page one time before they had that feature, and I thought I was famous, and I called I'm not kidding. I literally called my roommate, and she's like, you know that they changed that now.
You're like, I'm featured on Instagram.
Like, oh my god.
Because of everything that's out there.
Like, I don't even have that many followers.
That's so great.
My life came crashing down after that.
Well, they've made it really simple for you to listen, right? Mm-hmm. So first thing to do, get on there and just watch, just listen. And eventually, somebody's going to share something, or they're going to do something that you think is really fantastic, that you think is really, really cool. And you're going to have the confidence at that point to not just like it, or not just favorite it, or not just reshare it. You're going to have the confidence to actually comment on it and make a reply. And so in our sci-fi case of things, right, the Isaac Loves Robots, French Press, Worth the Hype, or Hipster Fad, help me out. Everybody else, that's the question. What we're recommending is everybody else reply. When somebody asks a question, reply, right? Like, answer their question and join in the conversation. Very, very, very easy to do. Very easy way to get into social media and start building these networks. I get that there's a really big meme online with Jimmy Fallon and things like that when it comes to hashtags, where they do the hashtag with their fingers and everything. Hashtag Jillian's cool. Hashtag thanks for being here. Hashtag you're welcome. Hashtags are really, really great, and they're really, really powerful. For those that don't know, and I've answered this question quite a bit, so there's quite a few people that don't. It's just a really easy way to categorize things on Twitter, on Instagram. There are hashtags on Facebook now, and so you can follow those hashtags. So there was a gentleman that I met in Florida. This guy, so this is cool. He was in Vietnam. He's a Vietnam veteran, and he was a watercolor painter in Vietnam. Like, he painted watercolors for the army. So he would go up to scenes like where things are happening for recon work and things like that, and he would paint pictures of them, and then they would use them in intelligence. And so he had his story and what he was interested in. By the time like I was talking to him about it, he couldn't figure out how to take his passion and grow it into something else because he really felt like he was alone. He felt like there's nobody else that had this. And actually, that's probably going to be the only watercolor painter from the military I'll ever meet in my entire life. I get that. But he felt like it was so unique that he didn't have a network, that he didn't have other people that he could talk to. We opened up Twitter. We typed in his location. We typed in, I think it was just hashtag watercolor for that specific like 10-mile radius, 50-mile radius. And he saw it was 100, 150 people really quickly that were part of that network. They were people that he could talk to. They were people that he could collaborate with. And then he could go to their websites and he could see how are they selling their prints, how are they making money, how are they teaching other people how to do watercolor. So really quickly, in just a couple of hours, we found a network of people that he could connect with and tons of business ideas that would help him be more successful. So hashtags, use them and use them to find really great material online. Okay, so then the next one, share cool stuff. Blogs. So blogs, I believe, were originally they were called weblogs, and then it got shortened to blogs. Did you know that? You did not know that. All right, so Jillian did not know that. So there were weblogs, meaning they logged the internet. Like it was an easy way for people to say, check out this really cool stuff that I found online. It's only later that they became kind of like a journal, right, where people can go and write about their day or comment on something that's really important to them. But weblogs started like that. So as you find cool things online, share it with other people. So in the case with, here's an example with Sci-Fi Coffee. We were right. Coffee makes you happy. Check it out. And then there's a short link that takes them to it. And then people pick up on that because they're excited to see things like that, right? So coffee makes you happy. Check it out. People reshare it. Coffee makes you happy. Check it out. People reshare it. I actually think that this link actually works. Colby, you don't need to type it into the thing, but I think that if you go to x.co/CFFEE, I think it takes you to a news article that explains why coffee makes you happy. So there you go. Coffee makes you happy. Check it out. Does it really work?
Yeah, caffeinated women may be fighting depression with every cup.
Oh, so it only makes women happy.
Sorry.
Is that what it says? All right.
I mean, I don't know.
Coffee makes me sad. All right. So the next one, number 4. This one is this one I don't see enough, but it also works really well. It's to support your friends. It's very similar to say the second one where you're joining conversations, where if you see something that's really fantastic online, like join that conversation. But even more importantly, then at that point, tell other people about it. So this case, Sci-Fi Coffee, interested in building your own robot. Follow Isaac Loves Robots for instructions and workshops. We love him. Listen, I think in sort of days gone by, so if you go back to like Mad Men era, or even let's just bring it back to the 80s even, there were always like the deals when you would do stuff like this. It'd be like, hey, listen, I'll talk about you if you talk about me, and I'll share stuff about you if you share stuff about me. The internet has completely destroyed that. Now this could be the first step into a really great relationship with somebody, simply by sharing what they're doing that you think is really cool with somebody else, and sharing your friend's material that's out there as well. For me. I realized during this I've been sharing lots of information about other people and other things and things. That's just become more and more natural for me because you're so excited about everything that's out there. You don't need to overthink it and worry like, oh no, if I share this information about them, will they be upset? No, they're not. Like, they're running a business. They're trying to do something cool.
And you're excited for them.
Right. Same type of thing. Okay, now the fifth one, and this one's great. Again, same thing we mentioned before. Keep it simple, but number 5 is give something away. So in social media, you give something away. Listen, this could be as playful as you want it to be. It could be, hey, listen, I'm going to give away free advice, right? First person that replies, I'm going to give this away. In the case with my daughter, who is trying desperately to my daughter, who's trying desperately to get some, I guess, YouTubers,
Subscribers.
I just want to say cute boys. I'm
That's
just going to
probably
say
what she's really going to.
I hope that she does not.
I hope she's
see
watching this too. She'll be so happy later.
She'll be very, very pleased.
Isn't she in school?
Yeah, hopefully.
School started.
School started. You're in school. You can't see this. She wants. It's like she'll follow them on Twitter, and then they'll say something like, "Hey, the first 3 people that follow me or reply to this comment, I'll follow them." Well, what they're doing, they're giving something away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I wish they weren't giving, my daughter feeling worth away, right? Like, here you go, kiddo. You're worth something. I followed you. But that's really sad, huh? I shouldn't have said that.
The way you said it.
It was sad. But they're giving something away, and lots of people could do that way. You could give something away that's actually legitimate, tangible as well. You could give away food at your local restaurant. You could give away a dish. You could give away coupons. You could give away discounts. All sorts of things you could give away. And usually, when you put that in, it's something very specific that you could give away that is related to your business and your social media presence. Meaning, for a certain number of followers, or first person to reply, or things like that as well. So in the case of Sci-Fi Coffee, we have Asimov stickers. Stop by, order a cup of Joe, tell your friends about it, and we'll give you one for free. I think we probably should make Asimov stickers, because that would be pretty cool. Do you know who Asimov is? Isaac Asimov? Do you know who? All right, so Asimov, I'm going to make you an Asimov sticker. All right, very, very cool. So those are the 5 things that are on here. I think we've got some other comments that we're gonna check out really quick.
Yeah, well, everyone really just loves your sci-fi coffee idea, so I honestly think you should take it.
Let's start it. Yeah.
And then Mia Voss responded to Sherilyn, and she said, "Once I embraced that, I didn't need to edit my personality. It was much smoother sailing on the interviews for me." And then she's saying like how much she definitely agrees that Han Solo is the way to go. No Princess Leia, all Han Solo barista.
We could, if we went with Han Solo, we could put like we could make him like shoot the flavors into your coffee.
I was thinking mouth.
Shoots first,
much
right?
Better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyways, yeah. Okay. Chewbacca.
That would be a health issue. I think that would be like.
I'm happy you know who Chewbacca is.
Okay.
That makes me really happy. All right, we have another one. We have another one from Chris. Is that right? Do we?
I just read that one.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. Oh, he wants us to give away buttons. Everyone needs buttons. I was gonna say belly button lint, but button's way better.
Belly button lint. Oh, that's fantastic.
No one would respond.
First person to reply. Yeah.
And you'd be like, I tried it.
That's awesome. No, actually, so Chris brings up a good point. There's somebody I don't know well. I think it's Outlaw Soaps. We recently sent a button maker to them that we had used at another event.
Like the button.
Like 1980s concert buttons.
Okay.
Like little things that you put.
See,
on.
I was thinking like a physical button.
Oh, well, that's cute. Yeah, a little button. Who's got the button? That type of thing.
Well, I was thinking like as a thing, like, oh, your button fell off the back pocket of your shorts.
Your button fell off the back pocket of your shorts.
Hey, it happens.
So also something really cool to give away. Thanks, Chris. Thanks everybody for the Han Solo recommendation.
Yeah. And then Sherilyn just responded. She said, back to Mia Voss, I've tried to edit my personality, but found that I don't know how to be any other version of me, so I gave up, and now I just use minimal filters. I'm glad you don't edit your personality. Enjoy your hangouts and your excitement.
Very cool.
Excitement shows, love it.
Yeah, listen, I've been in the same situation, and that could be just getting a job or getting something else. Listen, when you're building your own thing, and it's you, right? You're building your own business, you're building your own brand. I think the more authentic and just normal, like just be who you want to be.
Yeah.
Like I used to tell people this about even working at different places. So if you get a job at a large company or you get a job at a restaurant, I always say like work or behave or act like the what's the right phrase or the right way to put it? You're basically creating the company that you want to work for when you're there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the company that exists.
Yeah.
And so if you want to work for a company where you can be authentic and you can be yourself, and you can be gracious and serve others, and you have a particular leadership style, then be that. And if you're not the right fit for that particular company or not the right fit for that particular business even, it won't work. And then go with something where you can be yourself and you can be authentic. I think that's really important. And more so even now, because as you jump into social media, as you jump into these other worlds and you meet people face to face, like it doesn't resonate with us. Like I think we start off suspicious of businesses. And so we want to work with authentic people. We want to work with people that are legit. So
there I am.
There you are. This is not Princess Leia getting set up at our coffee joint. But that was another reminder for me to mention all the stuff that we just went over right here. Ask questions, join conversations, share cool stuff, support your friends, and give something away. These are all things that happen also outside of social media. And that's also a reminder for those of us that are nervous about social media. There are things that you're already doing and that you've already done to launch your business and get your business up and running, or to get your nonprofit up and running. You've already been hustling and doing these types of things. You're just taking it online. And as you create that material, as you create stuff that's mentionable, that's exciting, other people share it. So kind of getting towards the end here, and some final reminders. Go out, if you're starting your small business, if you're starting your nonprofit, I know that there's tons of stuff that you feel like you need to know, or tons of things that you feel like you need to understand, because you're afraid that once you put yourself out there and you start having these types of conversations, that it might go south, that it might not work out the way that you want it to, because you don't know everything. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, you're an expert. So the really cool guy that I met yesterday that's doing the electric bikes, as far as I know, he's the expert on electric bikes, and he's going to stay the expert on electric bikes unless he pulls me aside and whispers to me and tells me, like,
I didn't make that.
I don't know anything about that.
I just used it to.
I just use it to make friends. But he's the expert, and so are you. And so when you get online, like I think, just remind yourself you're able to behave that way when talking about these things. And I think the person I learned that the most from, and I talked about him last time, and I promise not to get too emotional as I go over this, but this is a picture of me when I was much better looking, not the guy with the tie, but the little guy down there in the corner. And this is my dad. This is something that I learned from my dad about being legit or being authentic. See, my dad was a firefighter growing up, like big burly firefighter guy. I think that there's a slight mustache here that he let come in a lot more as the years went on. So big, beefy, Chicago-like firefighter guy. And my dad, despite that being like the brand, right? I need to be a big, manly man type of guy. That just wasn't my dad. And my dad wasn't like that with any of us. Like, he was sensitive, he was kind, he was compassionate. I mean, when it got time to do work, he did work, and he was good at it. And he looked the part, right? He looked like the big, burly fireman, like, I'm going to step out of your way kind of guy. But my dad, at a certain point in his career, he used to make furniture, which is totally manly. But it became too cold to make furniture, so he started making quilts. And my dad became like the quilting fireman. So this
That's awesome.
This is one of his quilts here. And my dad, he made baby blankets. He made quilts for all of the firefighters. So as they had new kids that came into the fire department, he made these quilts for them. My dad was an amazing, an amazing sensitive guy. And the reminder for me on the voice, right, and being authentic and being yourself, is that growing up, I just had that, right? Just be yourself. If you happen to be the quilting fireman, which totally sounds bizarre and does not fit the part, right? Or you happen to be somebody that's working at a sci-fi coffee shop and you've never seen Star Wars, I'm cool with that. I really am. Like, just be yourself and be authentic and be honest as you talk about things, because that's what we're after, right? So at GoDaddy, being small business superfans, and many of us have left and moved on and started our own small businesses. Like, we need that, right? We want your voice. We want what you do to be out there. So share listen closely, find awesome things out there, and then share some more. And that's how we build this. This is how we create amazing things, right? This is how we find out about the next Minecrafts, and this is how we find out about the really great coffee shop in town, or the new web developer, or that really cool app that will make animated GIFs automatically from your photos, right? Like, this is how we find out about that stuff, is by having those authentic relationships and then telling other people about them and why it's cool. And that's when we get the opportunity to basically say, like, that's legit, right? Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's legit. All right, 2 quick resources for you as we wrap things up. One of them, where we actually talk, absolutely we talk about this in the garage. It is our online blog. We talk about this. We talk about SEO. We talk about hosting. We talk about development, tech, geeky stuff, all that type of stuff. A great resource to find out more information and learn from people that are far smarter than I am. And then also the GoDaddy Training Hub. So GoDaddyTrainingHub.com. This is another place where you can rewatch. Many of our Hangouts are there, and other webinars that we do, where we talk about not only conceptual things that you can do on the internet, but also using GoDaddy's actual tools to make you successful. That being website builder, WordPress, hosting, email, Office 365, these really cool domain names that are coming out right now, like .guru and .wtf. I don't know why I always use that as an example.
Because it just catches your eye.
The WTF.
Because it's like someone's gonna have that. Someone's gonna have that as like their business name.
They will. They will.
Yeah, they're gonna be like coffee.wtf.
Yeah, or it'll be like SeanFunder.wtf.
And then it's gonna be a company that just sells your laughter in a jar.
Hey, we got a ringtone for you.
Yeah. Everything.
In a jar.
And like you open it up and then it just laughs and like, oh. You should do that.
So very, very cool. I don't know, how are we looking at did we go over? Are we okay on time?
9:52 a.m.
9:52 a.m.
On that note, I'm gonna read another comment from Chris Carfey.
Right
I
on.
think it's just good to read it again. And then he basically quoted you and said, "When you are yourself, you create the company you want to work for." Then he said, "Word." No hashtag. Then he said, "Great point. Culture matters."
Culture does matter. Yeah, I think that's where it becomes really powerful. For you, if you're starting your own thing, hey, listen, a lot of people start their own thing simply for that reason, right?
Yeah.
They want to be able to develop and create their own culture. So very cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments that have come through?
No, just Cheryl and Chris and Mia Voss have been having great combos on here.
There's been the hangout within a hangout, which is exactly what we want. So with that, then, listen, we'll be doing more of these. Watch and follow us on our Google Plus profile and in social media on Twitter at GoDaddy. You'll find out more about these coming up. And yeah, if you have other questions, jump into the thread on the Google Hangout page, and we'll do our best to answer them as we move forward. Hey, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jillian, so much for joining the fun. And Colby, who put all of this stuff together. He's fantastic. One of the best producers anybody could ask for. So thank you so much, everybody.